Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Hitoner Chapter 7, and I am excited to see where we go. Since last time we kind of finished off the symposium stuff, it feels like, and while I did like Ham's character development and the story there, and I am liking Hitoner in general, I'm really enjoying it. I am very appreciative of all the support and everything. Will I continue to do videos like as soon as a chapter comes out? I plan to right now, but I don't know how long I'll keep that up or if in the future I'll want to take a break, let chapters build up, do this, that, or whatever. Right now I'm planning to continue doing videos like when a chapter comes out, but I'm not without criticism. It feels almost like the series is holding itself back in a way. Now, of course, would I like more ecchi fan service, whatever? Sure. I mean, a lot of people we know were watching it because they think that, or like reading it, they think Toneliko is hot, which valid completely. What I really think is the strongest suit so far is the comedy. I think when we do get the comedy, it hits very well, but again, it feels like it's being held back. It's being used so sparingly. I just wish we got a bit more. And while we're having just a little bit of comedy sprinkled in there, most of it is focusing on like the serious aspects of this societal exchange, which I think is very good and it's being done very well. But I read a lot of things, and there's so many other things I'm reading and trying to read and do for the channel and everything where they are doing this serious storytelling just as well, if not even much stronger, but they also have the comedy much more often, and they also make things spicier and have very, very good art. So while I am enjoying this so far, I do feel like I'm enjoying it, but it's not the strongest thing I'm reading, and I feel like we have these glimpses where it could hit very well emotionally, and it could hit very well with the comedy, but it just feels like we're getting so little. I don't want to say that I want more necessarily, but I want what we have to like spice itself up a bit. I'm not sure. So that's for me. I want to continue reading like as the chapters come out, but maybe I need to wait and let more chapters build up because I am not feeling as satisfied with this as some of the other things I'm reading, and I just really, really want to. But either way, we'll continue on with Chapter 7. Also, Chapter 7 of Hitoner, I feel like every time I mess up the name at first, every time I'm like Kimoner. I get it the complete opposite. I'm like Kimoner, and then I'm like, wait, no, it's Hitoner. It's the complete opposite of that. Even when I went to bring up the chapter today, I went to go to Manga Plus and everything, and I searched Kimoner, and I'm like, no, it's Hitoner. Every time I mess up, every time. Okay, so we start off with Chapter 7 of this heartwarming story in which different species learn about one another begins. Thus does a piece of human technology spread to their planet. Get out of here, this is ours and we have a mine? You wish it's mine. I mean, it's literally a mine. Blockheads, the lot of them. Those rocks are just impurities that got mixed in with the good stuff. You're the blockhead here. The government just announced that those are the raw materials we need to build that new Hito contraption. The whole world's scrambling for them. What? From the sounds of it, we can refine plenty of stuff from the bits we've been trashing all this time. They're calling them the materials of the future. The value of this stuff is liable to shoot through the roof. It's mine. No way. This land belongs to me. Everyone the world over is drunk on that Hito's nonsense. It might look good at first, but giving it even a quick sniff will make you regret ever letting that poison disrupt the balance of our society. Before it can cause irreparable damage to both our environment and industries, we must immediately cut off any further exchanges with the Hito, and reclaim a future that can only be built by chemo hands. Minister Ham, of the Office of Science and Industry, I've heard that similar concerns arose between the public and government back when electricity and even railways came about. Had our people chosen to surrender to adversity back then, what do you think society would be like now? What if this technology were to end up being needed in the future? The public themselves decided they want to work with the Hito, even knowing the risks. We're going to push this as far as we can for as long as we have Kanashima on our planet. So don't even think about trying to interfere with my business before it's even off the damn ground. Their intense debates have been going on for days. Please stop bumping the podiums. As a chemo myself, I have to wonder about all this. But seeing the minister go toe-to-toe with Director Laun has been incredibly reassuring. Even more important than the rocket's machinery itself was what we learned about materials and technology, or in engineering technology. I'd say that in offering this knowledge to us, Hitoshi's greatly raised his standing in our society, and yet he still seems to have his concerns about the current situation. As with the information, came warnings regarding adversity and the lessons Hito had to wade through. What do you mean you want there to be laws prohibiting equipping explosives? We don't need anything like that. There aren't even any fireworks of that size to speak of. Okay, so again, he's trying to make laws against attaching explosives to rockets because explosives attached to rockets would just be missiles. He's trying to keep them from making missiles without necessarily maybe leading them on to realizing that they could do that. Because they're still only seeing it as a method of transportation, since that's what it was first presented to them as. I can feel a sense of unease when he talks about it, but while he requested that he be allowed to pore over our history to resolve these feelings of his, we can't be sure if any aspects of our history might touch a nerve with him. It's best that we not allow him access to it. This was how the chief responded. Again, like any society, there are probably some dark and sketchy parts of history, and if so, it's something that he needs to know about in order to be able to safely know whether he can trust them with this technology, or at least know the nuances of things before he speaks. But from their perspective, they also want to hide it from him, because if there's any part of their history that they think he could view as embarrassing or negative, then he could then clam up and not be as honest with them. Well, now that we have such strong support, there's no real need to rush anymore. So why don't we take some time for a research tour to learn about our historical and cultural assets? And then Hitoshi has a plan. What is this? Hitoner Chapter 7, The Hitos Planet. Ugh, I can't reach it. Allow me. And they lift and tilt the shelf over instead of lifting the person. Thanks. Oh, Rilla, could you come here for a moment? Librarian, go Rilla. A strange letter's arrived. Near the central Commonwealth capital, Wananabani Library. It's not addressed to anyone, but the sender's address is on it, so I doubt it's a prank. Could you handle it for me? I apologize for how sudden this may seem, but I've been staying in this town for the past few months, and due to my profession, it's difficult for me to visit the library. I'm looking into something related to history, so I was wondering if you'd be willing to pick out a few books for me. What gorgeous handwriting. I can't imagine what sort of chemo must have written this. And so I began exchanging letters with this mysterious nameless book lover. Mail's here. This is kind of a really cute setup. Thank you so much. I've learned a great deal from the books you've sent me. Next, I'd love to read about maritime transports. They finished all those books already. They must be quite the speed reader, or perhaps they simply glance over the table of contents and call it there. No, of course not. A chemo with handwriting such as this could never bring themselves so low. Everything from industry to transportation, newly discovered technologies and materials throughout eras, and changes in chemo daily life. This anonymous pen pal of mine went on to grasp for any concept they could get their hands on. So interesting that he's taking matters into his own hands, it seems, and getting access to this information, which again has its positives and negatives. It means that because he has his own human or Hito biases, there are things that he might just straight up miss out on, but on the same side, like there are things he might miss out on because he's not being actually taught by somebody. At the same time, there are things that he can just learn naturally without worrying about things being hidden from him. As though they were tracing backward through the history of our civilization. I may be clueless as to the reason why they're putting in all this effort, but it feels as if I'm along on the ride with them, searching for whatever treasure they seek. The Alliance is basing its argument on the fact that Sir Kanashima passed over its territory when entering the atmosphere, and is requesting his transfer to... Sounds like everyone's trying to say it's illegal for one country to monopolize the Hito. I wish it'd head home and bring a few friends back with it. I heard its home was destroyed. Hey Rilla, we made some tea. Again, this is interesting political stuff too. We're learning that this has kind of been hid from him, but there are other countries that want to take him from where he is now. While the world's got Hito fever, Rilla's been focused on that pen pal of hers instead. They still don't seem to have found what they've been looking for. But even so, each time they finish their books, they send their impressions on the beasts' stories and locations highlighted in them, expressing whether they found them beautiful, interesting, and so on. It may be a simple misunderstanding on my part, and I wonder if beasts is a mistranslation. It was just supposed to be chemo there, or if chemo refer to certain individuals as beasts, or if beasts is just what they would call actual animals, not like themselves. But it always sounds like they're feeling nostalgic or regretful, as if their own hometown is somehow out of reach. I'm sure your planet was just as beautiful. Eventually their final letter arrived. Do you have any books that tell of this world's wars? Our wars? I suppose our myths are kept on... Okay, mistranslation. I suppose our myths are kept on the other shelves. He's drawing ever closer. And this is interesting too. So even for the chemo themselves, if their wars are kept in a different section, potentially, maybe there's a certain amount of information that's being hid from the chemo themselves. So I do like what we're going with here. How we have some of this political stuff boiling in the background. I like Rilla a lot as a new character being introduced. I thought that her perspective here was very cool. And I think the idea that the entire chapter was dealing with is the idea of the flow of information and what he isn't allowed or is allowed to know. But we could also be using that to get into what the chemo themselves are or aren't allowed to know. So all of it, I think, was very, very, very interesting. And I'm only left wanting more. But I think that's just something I'll have to get used to. It's a chapter every other week. I'm just going to have to get used to waiting and just getting a teeny bit of the story at a time. But in that sort of situation, it's like, yeah, I'm just left with a teeny bit. This chapter was not a full idea in and of itself. There is still more to the ideas presented in this chapter that we were cliffhung on and we'll learn more about next time. But with all of that aside, I guess that's where I end, even if it's a bit on the shorter side. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like if you like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of the chapter, my first thoughts and reactions. Subscribe for more Hitoner, much more on the channel. I think I will just, sort of chill, just take it as the new chapters are coming. If you want to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or sharing around, it's appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, you get One Piece Bingo a bit early, get your name at the end of videos, and of course help me to continue to make videos. That's the whole point. So if you want to support in that way, then thank you, and hit join down below to become a member, or go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Hawley and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls DD Ben and Maru, Cheriton Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pater Diallo. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.